Welcome back. Welcome back to Kenton and Habiba. I'm so excited to have you here today. I have been so excited, looking forward to sharing this video with you. We're going to transform my basic breakfast room into a garden-inspired cafe, garden-inspired home cafe. My family and I have lived in this home for the last 2 years. It is a rental home, and so we can't make any major changes to it. But I've always hated these maroon colored walls, and I knew I wanted to do something with it. So we're not gonna paint, but we're gonna totally change this room and how it feels. It's no longer gonna be dark and gloomy. I once had a bookcase on it with a lot of dishes just to mask the wall, but Kenton thought it was too cluttered. So anyway, this is what the space looks like when we first moved in, so that you can see. This dining room makeover is also greatly inspired by my love for gardening. As you know, I love flowers, I love being outdoors, and I also absolutely love drinking tea and everything surrounding tea culture. So I love a hot cup of tea, and I also love making desserts. So I thought, why not come up with a garden-inspired home cafe that would feature all kinds of delicious foods that I already love, and I can pretend that I actually have a little shop right in my house. The floor was another issue. It was old, it was dark, the tiles were lifting, and so we got management to come in and replace the floor, and I'm really happy with the brighter, clean new floor. During the summer break, I got Kareem and Mariam, our children, to help me put up the peel and stick wallpaper. So this made the biggest difference. This peel and stick wallpaper that I got from Home Depot, I basically ordered it online. What's cool about peel and stick is there's so many different choices. You can get them looking like wallpaper. I love this gold and floral one. They can run anywhere from about $20 per roll all the way to literally $200. So there was a lot of cutting and measuring, and I was just so happy to have them help me put it up because I am totally scared of heights. And I can do the bottom half of the wall, but when it comes to getting up on a ladder and putting that up, it's a bit of a challenge. Not impossible, but a challenge. So anyway, Kareem is pretty tall, so it was easier for him. And as you can see, he's peeling back the back of the peel and stick. What's cool is it doesn't damage the wall. You can put it up, it will stay up as long as you need it, and when you're ready to leave, you just pull it off. So really simple, and we didn't have a fancy gadget, so he's using a spatula. So most of the paper is up, and so they're putting back this table, this long table, which I kind of use as a buffet. And then I'm using an X-Acto knife to cut off the excess paper on the edge here. And here I was just pointing out to Mariam that we hadn't done a good job. It kind of looks rather tacky when you just cut around the light switch. The best thing to do is to actually remove the light switch or the plate, and then apply the wallpaper and then replace the plate. It looks so much cleaner and so much more professional.
You say you love royal blue and want it to be
Royal blue,
which you already have.
So here I'm replacing the light switch plate, and the wallpaper has been reapplied, and it looks so much better. Doesn't it look more profesh? Anyway, so up goes some of the artwork that was on that wall, and I think the light switch looks good. I found this old book, Journey to Enchantment, and I had this great idea that I was going to wallpaper the rest of the room with pages of an old book. Except I couldn't get myself to tear up this book. It was just so nice, and I love the word enchantment, so I decided to save it. I found this other book, High on Arrival. It's an old book, very disturbing story about, the Phillips. I don't know if you remember the band, the Phillips. One of the daughters, Mackenzie, was molested by her father. Anyway, really disturbing story. She ends up on drugs, and I've read this book before, and so I decided I could tear it up. I was going to use the pages to go on the wall. So I'm using a ton of sellotape or double-sided tape to attach it to the wall. And let's see what it looks like when I'm done. Well, actually, when Kareem is done, because he did most of it on the top. I did the bottom, he did the top. So when it was done, I was like, I don't like it. I don't like it. It was a lot of work, but I don't like it. So Miriam's here helping to pull it off. I just needed to go buy some more peel and stick. We basically had run out of peel and stick, so I bought some more peel and stick rolls. And they weren't too expensive. The ones that I had bought were actually like $30 a roll. And I think we ended up using about 6 rolls. Okay, so now we're ready for my plants. I'm trying to mist them, get them nice and hydrated, and then I'm going to bring them inside. So a lot of these plants live outside, but some of them were also inside. I had just taken them outside while we were, doing this makeover. So in goes my fiddle fig, and I'm gonna turn it around slightly. I'm also gonna use some floral wire to kind of help guide or train this plant so it straightens up a little bit more. And now I'm adding these plants to this little garden shelf that I've had. And any little container can work as a place to grow a plant. And I love kind of mixing and matching things. So I'm adding my little bromeliad. And this is my ZZ plant. I kind of have it on the shelf, but then I'm going to decide to move it down lower as I add more plants. But the point is, how do you have a garden cafe and not have plants? So this is a fern, and I thought it looked really magical under this cloche, I think it says. Cloche. Really magical. They like the humidity, so it works. Next, I'm adding this magazine rack by the window. It's kind of like a magazine rack and table in one, but very garden inspired, so I thought it was perfect here. So I'm going to add my plant. I make sure that the basket is lined with plastic before I put in the plant. And this is a fiddle fig. It does really well by this window. I'm also adding a peace lily on the ground, but it's on a raised coaster which has wheels, so I can move it, in different directions when I want. I can't tell you how excited I was when Kenton agreed that we could finally replace the ceiling fan. It was ugly, in my opinion, and I was tired of looking at it. I thought the space would be so much prettier with a chandelier. Except, where were we gonna find a chandelier for under $5,000 to $6,000? We went to Lowe's and Home Depot, and they have affordable chandeliers. Of course, they're not all crystal like you would expect, but they are pretty nonetheless. And then I also looked on Amazon. It turns out Amazon has actually very affordable chandeliers. So great. We got an electrician, and an electrician put in the chandelier for us. And I liked how it turned out. It just makes such a huge difference. And I don't miss that ceiling fan that we never used. Time to bring in some more plants into the space, especially now that it's getting cold outside. They are happy to be in the space. It's a little cumbersome because this one's pretty large, but it's okay. So this is what the space looks like with all the plants. I think it looks nice, very green, very clean looking, but it's devoid of any color. So I think we need a little bit of art. So I'm going to add pieces that make me happy. And some of these are almost childlike, very whimsical, because I decided I don't have to be super serious all the time. And just because I'm a grown woman doesn't mean I can't appreciate things that are childlike or make me smile, because that's the whole point. I want to walk in the room and smile. And I'm also going to add these wisteria flowers. So these are artificial flowers, as you can see, of course, but they are so pretty. We used to live in a house that had a lot of wisteria growing, and they grow kind of wild looking, but they smell so good. And I just like the look that they give above the mirror. It almost looks like you're standing under an arch, right? As part of my garden theme, I also purchased this moss mat made out of moss. I bought this online and it was a little shorter than I had expected, but oh well. I also attached an artificial rose to this cake stand. My grandma used to own this cake stand, and so I find it very kind of garden inspired, just like these plates. So that's going on the cake stand as well. I showed you this crystal candelabra in a previous shopping haul, right? That Kenton had gotten from auction. It is so pretty and it looks perfect here. I like the way how it almost reflects the chandelier in the ceiling. And yeah, I just love it. It just makes the place look so magical. Now, you can't have a cafe without having a place to display your foods, right? Like this one flips over and you can use it for chips and dip. Isn't that cool? So yeah, we have a lot of cake stands and we're going to use this for our cakes and all our desserts in our cafe. Like this one, it's so pretty. Okay, I'm also gonna need some little cupcake holders. So this is what the chandelier looks like at night, and I decided I was going to set the table for a tea party. So let's pretend you're invited to my tea party. Here's my beautiful tablecloth, and I got this online. It's got these 3D raised leaves. I definitely think this tablecloth adds a little bit of magic and sparkle. Now I'm going to add some table mats. I wasn't sure if I wanted silver or gold. And then I thought about, I had white chargers in my formal dining room. So maybe I could use this instead. I wasn't sure. We're gonna see how it looks with the plate and the table mat. So here's the charger and the plates I wanted to use. These are vintage china from France. Just look how much larger the American white plate is compared to the European plate. Clearly our portions are much larger. So here's a dinner plate. Here's a salad plate. Here's a soup bowl. And then this would be tea time. This is the size actually for tea time. It looks pretty small, right? It looks almost like a saucer. But no, here's the saucer. The saucer is much smaller, see? There's a saucer and it has kind of a lip. So that's for our teacups. Since this is just for a tea party, we're just gonna set up for that. And so there's not gonna need to be any dinner plates or lunch plates or any of that, or soup dishes, unless of course you will happen to be serving that. Now don't forget your napkins and serviettes, right? So you can use fabric if you want super formal, but realistically in my little cafe, you know, since I'm dealing with the public, we're gonna use paper. But instead of just plain white paper, which is fine too, I'm gonna use these colorful napkins. These napkins that I'm about to add don't exactly go with the china that I have on the table, because the china I feel like is so delicate in these colors. But I do like the fact that this napkin adds a pop of color, especially in a room that I want to feel like spring or summer. So you can put it on top of the plate like this, or you can put it under the plate. Maybe we'll do that so that it's not as imposing. Also, of course, if you're using loose tea, which I suggest, it's always better, tastes better, and is a little bit more special. Don't forget your strainers. And you can find strainers on Amazon if you like. Or you can go into like specialty stores, they have them. Of course, my garden-inspired home cafe or tea party would not be complete without fresh flowers. So I'm making a grid across this wide square vase. This is an unusual vase, I guess, not your typical, but anyway, the grid really helps to have the flowers stand up. So it gives it a lot more support, and then the flowers don't flop all over the place. So I'm just cutting them to size, and now I have this really beautiful bouquet of roses. Now, before I go to bed, I really wanted you to meet the cutest little mice living on my bookshelf. I haven't finished building their little house, but it looks like they're having a tea party of their own. If you look closely, you will notice there are 3 little mice. and each mice represents one of my children. Can you believe it? I ended up buying 3 different mice to represent each of my children. So the mice or mouse sitting in the chair with the Perrier water that I'm tugging at, that would be Khalid, Prince Mouse, the oldest. And over in the back is Kareem, or he represents Kareem the chef. You know, Kareem loves to cook. And you'll soon meet Miriam. She's sitting on the floor. I am sure she would be horrified if she heard me talking about her like this. But look at the little mouse sitting on the floor. Isn't she adorable, reading a little book to her teddy bear? And you can see these teapots really do open. Look at the food, how adorable it is. That's a large matchbox, isn't it? Well, that's because little sister sleeps in it. Isn't she so cute? Just look at her snuggled in that matchbox. Ah, now she's up. Okay, back to reality. We gotta open this cafe. So I decided to incorporate this bar cart from World Market. So I usually style it in the traditional way with a lot of bottles, but today we're going to add all tea things. So we got our teapots, so I think this is a good idea. If you don't want to do a whole big spread and you have guests coming over, you could always use a bar cart to, entertain them with tea stuff or coffee. Okay, it's time to reveal our dining room makeover. I love this little display that I've set up with all the little plants. And oh, I didn't show you these. These I made a couple of weeks ago, and hopefully if you're following me on Instagram, you would have seen how I made them. But let me bring you a little closer. So they're basically mini terrariums, and I have some air plants in them. So the air plants are all alive, and hopefully they'll last a long time. I really love this whimsical picture of this princess bunny sitting in this tufted red chair. Of course, our cafe is well stocked. Would you like a croissant or would you like a cupcake? It's your choice. Would you like some hot tea with that? Or would you like a macaroon? What's your favorite flavor? I like pistachio and sometimes chocolate. Just feels very cozy. I have a little chair here in the corner. And of course I have the chairs around there. I really wanted this space to feel happy, enchanted, magical, whimsical, and I think I achieved that. Do you like it? And what would you have done differently? And it's also nice to know that all of this is renter friendly. So enjoy your space, take ownership of your space, whether you rent it or whether you own it. So you're probably thinking, this was all so pretty, Habiba, but we're about to be in October. Could we have some fall or autumn inspiration? You mean you want some pumpkins and you want some cozy vibes? Okay, I got you. You want... If you want your house to smell warm and inviting, there's nothing like the smell of apples and cinnamon. And if you like, you can add some star anise, but you don't have to. It will smell so good as if you're baking apple pie without doing the work of apple pie. So boil away or let it simmer on low. And And just like that, we're ready for fall. I layered the plates with 2 different shapes and 2 different colors. So I alternated green and brown plates over a black plate, and I used a napkin decorated with some fall leaves. Believe it or not, these are the same flowers I used earlier, the same roses, but by adding fall picks or fall leaves to it, it makes it look completely different. And so the table definitely feels like fall. Do you notice the orange fall candles? I also added a wreath above the door, a few candles, a few pumpkins, and it's just a completely different vibe, right? And don't forget you can decorate with fruit. That's another good tip, is to use fruit that you already own to decorate. Now I have this little pie candle, which reminds me of food, hot food in the fall and winter, like this hot soup. Or how about some meatloaf? Or would you like some dessert instead? How about these hand apple pies that I made in the past? I think they would be great in the cafe. Or better yet, a slice of Caribbean rum cake. Yes. Or some delicious bread pudding with hot rum sauce. This cafe is going to be so good. So good. Okay, back to the decorating. I also added this cute little owl, and he looks so adorable on the plate stand with the fall leaves. I even added some fall leaves or a garland on the chandelier, but I don't know, maybe that's doing too much? What do you think? I'm not sure if I'll keep it there. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this dining room makeover, and I hope you got a few tips from it. Did you like the fall look better, or did you like the spring/summer look better? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up. In the meantime, I'm gonna enjoy this macaroon because I have been working really hard to put this together, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!